Hey guys,
Wow.
we just watched Female Prisoner 701, Scorpion.
So the reason we watched this movie is we just watched a Gian Zono film, and we really love exposure. So we wanted to check out what the original source material was.
For Sasori-san, who
Yes,
is a
who
key
is
figure.
who is portrayed in Love Exposure.
Yeah, but it's meant to be an homage to this film.
Yes, which we didn't know what this was until we
Right.
watched it. We
Yeah.
thought this was going to be just an action flick.
Yeah.
It's one of the most insane exploitation
Yes.
films
Yes.
we've seen.
I'd say it's more of a drama than an action film.
Yeah. I mean, if you had to give it a genre name, it'd be exploitation. Definitely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, I know I haven't seen a lot of exploitation films, so I still have a lot of thinking to do about just how I feel about them in general.
Uh-huh.
But it makes for some interesting discussion, I think.
There's some interesting discussion, yeah.
Yeah.
Both because of like the time, the era that like you can't make exploitation films the same way today.
No, you cannot.
But that's very much a sign of the times.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you see how something such as technical proficiency is not as important for these films.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, what really, man, it's these films go all out in exploitating.
Yeah.
And particularly this film is a very feminist take on it.
Very feminist take.
Yeah. And I guess what I have a hard time like figuring out is like, well, I don't know.
It's battle of the sexes.
It's a battle of the sexes.
It's also battle of the same sexes. There's like, there's a lot of dynamics going on in this.
Yeah, it's basically women fight back, or a woman fights back for.
A woman fight back women who are fighting back against men.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else should we say until we get into spoiler territory?
I mean, I have a star rating for it.
Yeah. What is it?
It's pretty high.
What is it?
I have it at a low 4.5.
Okay, mine is between 4 and 4.5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm undecided between which.
Okay.
Yeah, but would you recommend this film?
I would recommend this film.
Okay.
Just know that you're getting into a low budget exploitation film. I will say though, there are a lot of artsy shots and very cool camera angles.
Yeah, we were very surprised on how artsy this was.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there are certain shots of this film when we vocally went, "Whoa, what?"
Yeah.
Because we weren't expecting that level of just like lighting,
and creativity.
Yeah, there's one sequence in particular near the beginning.
Yes.
That really was
Yes.
cool. It caught us both off guard.
Yeah, but it's exploitation. It's very theatrical.
Yeah.
It's all about the theatrics.
Yeah.
So the gestures and facial expressions are all very exaggerated.
Yeah.
So definitely be prepared for that.
If you've seen Love Exposure and want to know more about this character like we did, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, and there are like so many other films after that, and I'm not sure if or when I'm gonna watch another one in this, another film in this franchise.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine
I'm low key.
They're pretty similar.
Yeah.
So I mean, we probably have gotten generally what they're about, I would guess. I mean, but then again, we could be wrong.
Right. And if I were to recommend, I know you didn't like this film, but I would recommend Mrs. .45, which is a film we watched last year.
Yeah. Oh, that is pretty similar film.
Yeah,
actually. It's very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the. Yeah, that's a. It's not as creative and as balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Yes, as balls to the wall and ballsy as this one. But it's a nice little exploitation film. We described that one as a good background movie for a party.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that one has a very kick-ass soundtrack.
Okay, my opinion on that film is that it's sort of lackluster. But if this is your thing, you might like it.
It's generally got pretty high reviews, but yeah, this is it's different. But because I don't have too much knowledge in exploitation films. Mm-hmm. That would be my recommendation. Also, we saw Coffee last semester. But
I was thinking a lot about Coffee.
Yeah.
It's very similar to Coffee. Like this, I mean, I was also thinking, like, where in Coffee, it's, Black America women.
Yeah.
Like, fighting against men as well. But in that case, it's much more just confined and.
It's a lot of crime. It's a
lot
about.
It's a lot about.
It's a lot about the plot.
This isn't about crime. This is just about revenge.
Yeah, there are bigger ideas.
Revenge against the way that men are dicks.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Literally sometimes, but we should go to spoilers.
Is there anything else we should say?
I don't think so.
Okay, if you're on the fence, it's up to you.
Yep, exactly. There you go. There you go.
All right, spoilers.
All right.
Okay. Whew. So one thing I should say. So we have our little lovely portal turret. The turret was a gift as I think a birthday gift. But the actual hat and hair is something I got last Halloween because I played Sasori-san. I cosplayed her for my Halloween outfit. This is because I really like Love Exposure. I have the poster up there. And was playing specifically the Love Exposure version of Sasori-san.
Yes.
Yeah. However, I don't think I would have done that if I had seen this film. Because the actual character of Sasori-san, or should we call him a Scorpion, or Matsu, or I don't know. I mean, Miss Scorpion's fine. I don't know. Yeah. You can call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think I would ever do that again, just because this is so much a figure of women vigilantes, is that the word?
Vigilante.
Yeah, vigilante.
Yeah.
That is like, oh, I'm like, as a white man, it's like, that's totally weird if I'm doing that. Unless it's like, I'm like otherwise involved in feminist culture, which I'm not. So.
Right. It's very interesting how Shionzono pays homage to it, but I guess
it's very appropriate that he did. I think.
Yeah,
or
really?
Maybe not, if appropriate's not the right word, then it makes sense. That he
somehow makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, this film is probably something he grew up watching, and it's totally in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, I could totally see also, like teenage him watching this.
Also, I can see teenage Tarantino probably would go crazy for this.
Yeah, I imagine he would be aware of this film.
He's probably aware of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's seen like Kill Bill's inspired by Lady Snowblood.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like that's along the same. Yeah. Well, Lady Snowblood sounds like a more.
This is making me wonder if this is like part of a tradition, not just inside of Japan, but like internationally around this time.
It seems like
to make films like this.
Yeah, it's so eerie the similarities.
Yeah, like it's very much part of the same sort of cut.
Yeah,
and this film takes that really, really far.
Right.
Yeah, it's the first time I have ever seen on screen women raping men.
Yeah.
I've never seen that on screen before.
Right.
And
and they do it with so much glee. It's just
it's like it's Halloween.
Yeah. There's almost a type of I don't want to say innocence, but there's something pure about the way that scene is done. They're just like, we want to.
You use the word pure.
There's a very I think there's a very pure intention.
Pure way that they are raped. Really.
Yeah. Like the women's intentions, they seem like they're very. What's the word?
They're full of hate. I'm very confused at using pure.
It's pure hatred. Like there's
pure hatred, but I wouldn't want to use the word pure necessarily.
But you look at their gleeful. They have this gleeful expression when they're doing it. So it is like claiming back their sexuality too. And for me, I think it's that claiming back to their sexuality that's what
sort of I find myself struggling with most.
Yeah.
Is like how they claim their sexuality and use that towards violence. It totally makes sense in this film.
Yeah.
But it like, is this a like I don't know, successful, whatever that means?
It's
like attack against like sexism that's valid. I don't know. That's all up to interpretation, of course. But like that's what I find myself struggling over. Specifically, did you have something else you wanted to say?
Yeah, you could finish your point.
Yeah. So like that was one thing with the women raping men, but also the scene where Miss Scorpion uses her own sexuality to sort of dominate the undercover cop.
Right.
Because the way they set that up is really interesting, because you don't know she's an undercover cop. This other person in the solitary cell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, they start having sex, and it's like, whoa, wait, what? Is this genuine, like, she's horny? Or, like, what's going on here? And you sort of realize after the fact that, oh, this was all a manipulative thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
just, like, her using her own sex to do basically what was done to her by the main antagonist dude who betrayed her.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see the female cop's reaction of wanting more and even wanting to go back there.
That made me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because, like, that sort of plays on the trope of, like, oh, I turned you into a lesbian sort of thing.
I don't think that was a trope back then. That's the thing.
I have no idea because I don't know this genre that well. So
I think for a Japanese film to go there, that's very strange.
Yeah.
Made in the 70s.
Yeah.
So this is pure conjecture, but I feel like
a lot of this is conjecture on our parts because
Yeah.
we don't know a lot about this genre.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a weird scene. I like that scene actually quite a bit. But there was something else about the women raping men thing that I wanted to talk about, but I don't remember. I'll think about it.
Okay.
I'll remember it.
Man.
Yeah, it's
like.
Oh yeah. Okay, this is what I wanted to say. So like, this is clear. That scene is clear about women claiming sexuality back.
Mm-hmm.
But then earlier you do see like just hordes of nude women.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And how much of it is gratuitous glorification of that? It's just using women's bodies for entertainment. Like watching it, sometimes I'm wondering, what exactly was how much of it was just sleaze versus how much of it was empowerment. There's definitely both.
Yeah, like the very first time we see, it's very early on in the film if you've seen it, where one of the opening shots in the opening credits is a bunch of nude women doing like exercises or something.
Yeah,
and it's unclear why, but then it becomes very clear why. Because, like, the guards are standing all around them. They're acting really oppressive. And then there's one who's, like, looking up their skirts or like, well, they're not wearing skirts. But,
very
like, looking up their legs. Right. And like, is, like, smiling with this goofy grin. And it becomes apparent, oh, okay, this is a really bad prison. The guards are awful people. The women are being taken advantage of. That all becomes very, very clear very quickly. Even so point to the stuff that the very first thing you see is this is all fiction. None of this is real.
Right.
Like they even go there to like say this doesn't exist. Don't worry. This is not an actual thing. Which, I mean, that's nice, I guess. Or another thing. This is a really small thing. While there are lots and lots of boobs, there was no crotch shots.
Right.
Which I think was not allowed in film.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, like, it made some of the showering scenes, like, really fun to watch because of that. Because you could see how creative they were to start to hide all their groins.
Right.
Which, I found that kind of entertaining. Or I don't know, what the best term to use and...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, no, you said something that sounded like groans.
Groins. I don't know, we're trying to be critical here, so I can't just say, they were hiding their vaginas. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Well, you just said it, so... and we're not editing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. But, what else was I going to say? Yeah, like it's clear that, like, these people are just evil. It's interesting, though, like, there's one shot, which I think we might end up using for the thumbnail, is the shot of her right after she's raped and she's betrayed. Like, the background goes red, and her hair, like, does weird things and different shots. And
right.
And she's glaring, and she's just wicked mad.
Uh-huh.
But she's looking at the camera.
Oh.
And she's looking at you, and that got me thinking, like, holy fuck.
But then you see
Is this the male gaze looking at the screen, her looking back at the male gaze with vengeance?
I like that.
That's sort of how I saw that, and I was like, whoa. If they are intentionally, like, if this is for a male audience, then that's a really powerful moment, I think.
Right.
Because then this film becomes about, like, an attack on the male gaze, in a way. Yeah, at the same time, it's like like you said, like, it's a bunch of naked people, and it's a bunch of, like, attractive women on screen who are,
I think
like,
it's... Yeah. I would actually use the word playful, but it's more the director just being very playful about it.
Yeah.
And I guess, living in that era and making these films that are clearly sleazy films, I guess it's cool that this film is playing with that.
Yeah. It also seems to be... It strikes me as political. Like, then again, I don't have...
With the Japanese flag.
We don't have the... the Japanese flag.
Mm-hmm.
Right when the antagonist dies,
yeah.
he throws up the knife and you see the flag.
Yeah.
And there's also, like, the blood stain and, like, the red dot becomes the flag. And it's oh, my God.
Yeah,
like,
because
they seem to be making a statement
That's her losing her virginity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That didn't totally communicate when I saw that. Okay. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's...
But I kind of want to go back to the scene where she stares at the camera, the whole male gaze thing you were talking about.
Yeah. I
find it really cool that you first see the red, which is her rage, and then you see the green, which comes back later every time she kills a man.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the birth of that green.
What does that green represent?
That's a good question. Is it the...
Like revenge?
Yeah, I was thinking. It
like,
might be
red
vengeance.
is rage, green is revenge.
Yeah.
Those seem really close, though.
No, they're not that close. I don't think they're that close.
All right.
But the coolest thing is the moment she looks at the camera, there's a yellow light that comes from a place that almost looks like it's like starting from behind her back and shining forward. There was a yellow light. Do you remember the yellow light?
Was this in the same shot?
It was in the exact same shot. Red, green, yellow. In the exact same shot.
Okay.
In that order.
Okay, I don't remember too specifically, but...
Because you were too focused on the moment.
I was too up to my head, like, whoa.
No, but the exact same time that you screamed was when the yellow light started to shine. It was so bright. It was super bright and it just shined through. And I feel like that might be the color that it's meant to accompany that moment where she looks at the screen. Yeah. Yeah. And then the red comes again when Yuki dies. And there was a while where I couldn't figure out who was Yuki, the good girl, who was with her and had the period at the beginning, and who was the girl who wanted to kill her, because they look very similar, the two actresses. But after figuring that out, like Yuki gets shot, Yuki protects her, and then that's when the women kind of decided to riot. The color of the sky in that scene. With the vortex.
Yeah, it was...
There's a vortex in the background. It looks like some sort of... What is it? Like I don't want to say video game, but just some sort of...
Almost like a cheap backdrop.
It almost looks like some science fiction disaster film art.
Yeah.
And it's like super oil painting, and it adds a level of surrealism
well, it's the... I think Tohei is the... What is the name of the company that did that produced produced the film?
I don't know.
It was like Tohei, I think.
Is it Tohei? No, I didn't see the logo. It could have been.
It was in the beginning.
Okay.
The English translation of it kind of crapped it up. The translation it was like spelled wrong, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know the company. I didn't see the name of the.
Yeah, it could have been like artists who are usually doing science fiction films, like.
I don't think
for some reason did this too.
No, I don't think they're doing science fiction.
I don't know.
It seems like
I have no idea.
It seemed like it was very much an artistic choice. And speaking of artistic choices, the stage, the wall.
Oh my god!
At the beginning, so during the flashback,
we basically entered the theater.
It basically became like a theater piece all of a sudden, and it's really cool because that flashback did feel a little surreal and a little, it's supposed to be impressions, and the way the scenes changed. It started off with her losing her virginity with the whole Japanese flag thing, and the camera goes up, and then you see like tables and people.
Yeah.
I forgot what they. Oh, no.
It starts in this blue void.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Where it's like. It's obviously abstract. We're just somewhere, right? But then, it's like there are abstract set pieces with the silk flowing as the back wall and shit.
Yeah, and after the marijuana dealers went inside the main room they dealt with and eventually raped her. That room was also the same shade of blue, and it kept that very, very abstract feeling. It's like, is this what the room really... It's definitely not what the room really looked like, but it's just an idea. It's just some sort of surreal location, and I really like that. And then There was and then the wall spins after. Yeah, so there was a locker, there was a safe with the marijuana and stuff, and then that safe starts moving along with the wall, and then it turns into
That's a great shot.
the officer talking, and we later know that the man she was in love with actually would like lied to her and all that.
Yeah, it basically set her up to put her in jail. I think was how it went.
Yeah, I like the placement of that flashback, because at the beginning we see we see how what's the word how
we see how she like
we see how she is
how strong she is.
exactly how strong she is, how she escapes, and it's clear that's not the first time she's done it. I think because all the other prisoner women knew who it was that escaped. I thought that was cool. And then she went back. And at the end of the movie, she went back to prison too. Was that supposed to be metaphorical?
No.
Or she
was brought back for murdering the dude.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I mean, she couldn't really get out of it by that point.
Yeah.
Unless she was... I mean, she's obviously not superhuman. She's just badass.
Yeah.
There's sort of I feel like they do make that distinction.
Right.
Yeah.
Until the next film where she escapes again. Probably.
Yeah.
But, what about the detective? The captain with the eye. That was crazy.
That was comical.
Yeah, that scene along with the crazy ghoulish, the woman who just turns into a freaking ghoul.
Yeah, that whole shower attack scene.
Yeah.
That was something else.
That was one of the most. Yeah, I think that's one of the most sensory overloading scene. Like it caught us so off guard. But and there was just so much white light, and it actually reminded me, the lady's face reminded me of those Japanese masks.
Yeah, it seemed to be almost making a homage to that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like the Onibaba.
Yeah.
The ghost spirit mask.
Yeah. I wasn't really able to place what that was at the time, but yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really like totally fake makeup they later do to the captain's eye, because you can still see that like his pupil is totally there. When if he was stabbed like that in reality, it's probably
it cracked me up that he didn't like flinch in pain.
That's
anything.
great.
Yeah,
I think that was great.
He's just like
yeah.
Yeah, that's part of just also just like how the genre works. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. There's so much. Even the way the plot progresses, sometimes it's not about how a character's motivation is consistent. It's about what she does in the moment.
What do you mean by that?
Like, it seemed like certain characters and the way they act, like 1 minute they can be totally submissive, the next minute they like suddenly decide this is the moment I'm going to revolt. And the way the logic works seems very different from most mainstream action films.
Oh, do you mean like the general crowd of women?
General crowd of women, but also to an extent, Sasori-san, Miss Scorpion, the protagonist.
Can you think of an example?
I'm just trying to think, like for example, the whole digging scene. Like, I understand she's outnumbered, but...
Well, what do you mean when, like...
I feel like she could have done something sooner.
To get herself out of that situation, you mean?
To get her out of like that situation, or to just maybe tackle one person specifically. Like, for example, how she dug up the dirt to make that woman trip? It felt like just the way the logic works is very different. There's like a campiness to it. There's an inconsistency that actually gives the movie a kind of charm.
I'm not sure if I really buy that the characters are inconsistent rather than they're just...
No, I think their motivations are always really clear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like these are still sort of like one-dimensional characters, but they're a little bit more than that in that they don't always have the same goal.
Okay.
Like, they don't always... Like, what they do changes depending on what's thrown at them and, like, who manipulates them.
Right.
Maybe that's what you're trying to say.
It kind of makes sense, but like it doesn't feel that tight. Like when we summarize the plot with the whole digging scene, I don't know. There's something just really rough about it. It doesn't feel really precise. Like the timings, all the timings of each. You know, you can think about it as like a chess game between the officers and the prison women, and I feel like in a more, not even just mainstream, but like in a more polished, maybe high budget film, you could see every move portray like timed more precisely. But in this one, it just feels like, oh, now this is happening. It feels like we're being, oh, now this is happening. Sometimes it takes the, like, you need to see a certain character begin a certain motion before we realize, oh, this is what she's doing right now. Instead of being like I feel like with the more polished films, we're able to know what the character is about to do 1 second before she does it. But in this film, it feels like we always get to know a little later than when the character actually starts doing that action.
So, like, as an example of this, like, how they choose to, like, all, like, revolt against Sasori-san, and then they revolt against the person who traded her, and...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Stuff like that.
I see what you mean.
That's one moment, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess how I sort of interpreted that is that there are, like, these characters who are sort of, like, pillars in, like, their motivations. Like, Sasori-san is a badass. There's there are the people who, like, know that she's a badass and know she's, like... who believe her in her cause.
Yeah, I really like the woman who tells her, if this is your chance, run now, because she doesn't actually do anything for Sasori-san. She kind of just watches on the side.
Wait.
And
right beforehand, she actually got her out of the stent by alerting the other people that she was about to set the place on fire.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that is the one thing she did.
Okay.
Yeah. If she did do anything else, I don't remember.
Right.
It must have been. It probably was pretty minor.
Right.
If she did, but like, well, I think she did like offer support, like, and like they look at each other and like she like
there's a
communicates
lot of
to her
right,
like you're doing a good thing, you know that, right? Sort of deal. Yeah. One moment I thought was really interesting was right when the assassin was about to burn in flames.
Yes.
And her and Sasori-san are looking at her in like this hateful gaze, like, you try to kill this bitch. And she's like, give me mercy, I was manipulated. It's like they leave like 10 seconds to let you wonder, what's she gonna do? Is she gonna show mercy? Is she like, and like I was genuinely curious to like, yeah, like, because this is like a character defining moment, right? Yeah, which, like, I mean, for this, character defining moments aren't the hugest thing in the world, but in terms of like the film's message,
but I think what sets this exploitation film apart from others is the character.
Definitely.
The fact that the characters are so strong.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the character. Well, the characters are really strong in their
despite the roughness of the film, like you understand the characters' motivations.
Yeah. However, in that moment, she said like a line which like perfectly summed up her reasoning of why she was gonna let her burn, which was in her own morals, which was if I can remember, women who betray women who are betrayed by men. You know, it's a woman's fault for being betrayed by men or something.
Something like that.
Something like that. Where it was like, whoa, that's like, it's really hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder, like, is that the message that the film's trying to get across, or are they just trying to be like generally badass and
I think it's more generally badass, but there's definitely something underneath that we're not getting.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's definitely would you agree that there's a political
absolutely, completely
message? Yeah, I feel the same
we
way.
don't need to.
Yeah,
the film makes it very clear. I think we don't need to be natives to really figure that out. If I dare say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in general, this is not about political, but the actress's the main actress's eyes, whenever she's staring,
she has such hateful eyes.
Hateful or sharp.
Or in those scenes, she has hateful eyes. Like, she has really great eyes for that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very focused.
Yeah,
and when she stares, you're really scared.
Yeah.
And I really like how when she finally, first of all, the moment she is like walking on the street and you see the suit, maybe it's because we have the love exposure context.
Yeah, that was like,
but it was,
oh man, it's her.
Yeah, it's her. It's her.
It's her.
I feel like it would be even more powerful if we hadn't seen Love Exposure.
You think?
Yeah, I think the moment
I disagree.
Really?
We have a very strong association with that
I guess
character.
you're right. I guess you're right.
It would just be general, like, oh, now she's wearing black, and she's hiding or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that outfit means a lot. I know it means a lot to me, because I spent a lot of time, like, trying to recreate that outfit.
Yeah,
or at least that version of the outfit, but yeah.
I feel like if we hadn't seen Love Exposure, it might have taken us to the end of the film to realize how significant that outfit is, because all the badass silhouette shots of her came near the end. So I guess I agree with you that it wouldn't have hit us immediately.
Yeah.
But I also thought it was interesting that the most gratuitous scenes were in the violence-wise were in the prison, and when she was taking vengeance on the men later, the gang men, the Yakuza men, the blood was always shown either as an aftermath of the stabbing, or like it was more about the idea of revenge than it is like, look how I stab you, like the moment of impact.
Okay.
I mean, you see the moment of impact like you know, from behind or something, but I find it interesting that they did not choose to go more gory with it, and I think that's very effective.
Okay.
Yeah, because they clearly had the effects, despite, you know, they're not modern day effects. But some of the effects that during the prison violence scenes were really good. Oh man, there's the shot where like the shovel to the back of the head, like you could tell that. I mean, you could see that the shovel did not actually hit, but then the head still burst with fake.
She swings it right by his head, and then there's.
Yeah, and the slow motion and all that. It was just all the slow motion scenes were so good.
Yeah.
When she's taking the knife during the flashback to try her first attempt at revenge towards the man she loved, and right before she got arrested, I thought that slow motion, as well as how the camera moves from like vertically to horizontally, I thought that was really, really well done. I've never seen other films use like this, all the upside down shots, all the sideways shots.
There's one panning shot where like it was right after she was burned. Yeah, like it follows her, and then the camera does the wrong thing and like follows her, and then like we were upside down for a few seconds.
Yeah.
it's really funny.
So awesome. I think that's
so it's just really creative choices in a lot of this.
Right.
Yeah, that's surprising to see in an exploitation film.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which brings me back to, I didn't really finish my point, but the whole thing about... No, I totally went on the detour myself.
Yeah.
But, I do think it is significant that the revenge scenes are more about the green light and the men's expressions than the men actually being pierced and seeing that. That being said, the final... You know, when she kills the boyfriend or the man, that was really powerful when she just kept on stabbing him. And it was really cool because at the beginning, when they're in the elevator, it's clear that the man has the upper hand, and he like tries to kiss her, and he thinks that she's still in love with him and stuff. But then the moment after the first stab, it's clear that she's now on the upper hand, and the man is running away from her. I thought the shift in power was really, really cool and very, very, very. That was, I think, one of the stronger, more precise moments of change in the film, and I thought that was very powerful. Yeah. Is there other stuff to talk about?
Okay, here's a question. All right, so this can be either a pointless question or who knows, since, I mean, you can interpret gender as sort of a spectrum. But in the context of the 70s and this film and Japan and what we know, do you think that who's the intended audience for this film? Is it men, women, or both?
I think it's
both.
What do you think?
Both?
It's hard because it feels like, I mean, imagining if this played in a theater and people paid to see this, it would definitely be more of like the younger men. I'd imagine men in their 20s or early 30s who would be really interested. Just because I feel like the idea of feminism was very different. And like, imagine seeing a trailer for this and seeing just a woman kicking ass. I think back in the day, it would actually be the men who go see this type of stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wouldn't be because modern day, if something is advertised as a woman kicking ass, it would be more of like an empowering thing. Like the empowerment would be put at the forefront.
Yeah.
So they would do things such as have an all women screening and stuff. But I feel like back then, the general people, everybody knows that they kind of know that there's going to be some sleaze in it. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what leads the filmmakers to make the film in this way too.
I think once we finish talking here and stop the video,
mm-hmm.
I might do some research just because I'm genuinely curious of how
Sorry,
they
dropped everything.
Just your wallet and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely curious of how they marketed this, and like how this was received.
Yeah.
Like and sort of what the general consensus is for this film, because I mean we very intently go in blind to these. So any discussion that we have is going to be, in most cases, cut only our own opinion with the film, mostly out of context, just of what we know of the film.
Yeah, especially with some of the more foreign films, foreign to us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I would imagine, I would assume, which is always dangerous, that this is the exploitation genre is mainly geared towards men.
Right.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
exploitation in nature would be exploitation of women.
Mm-hmm.
But this is exploitation of women that in the same way empowers women.
But
so it's doing both.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That actually makes the film, you know how we talked about like whether is this film empowering or exploiting?
Uh-huh.
I think that makes a lot of sense because if the film does feel like it has a male gaze vibe to it. But if it is aimed towards men, then obviously they will use the male gaze sort of look to bring up that empowerment so that it is the men who watch it who get the message that, yeah, women can kick ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so by combining the boob shots, the stuff that make men go like, ooh, with the badass women stuff, the stuff where all the women revolt. Uh-huh. I think that was a perfect formula back then for the men to really get a message that women can kick ass.
Yeah. At the same time, though, it could be interpreted in a more pessimistic way.
It can be, absolutely.
Yeah, which makes this really interesting. Where it's like, exploitation films are bad against women. Okay, well, what about this film?
Right.
Where like is a way to try to justify like all of the sleazy things that happen in these films, right?
Right. Yeah, but what was I feel like this film definitely wasn't made like this was the 70s. I imagine were a time where film criticism wasn't really a thing yet.
Yeah.
And if film criticism existed, it was probably
something like this would be shot down under film criticism,
right?
Or at least like modern film criticism,
right? Yeah. But even back in the day, imagine if Roger Ebert reviewed this. It just doesn't seem right. Yeah, that brings up a really interesting thing, as in like these filmmakers, they're very much making films for the audience. Mm-hmm. They don't need the Rotten Tomatoes rating or even a New York Times, whatever Tokyo Magazine positive 2 thumbs up. There's no need for that. They're definitely making it for the audience's sake. Yeah, I think that's where it shines. That's how we can get a film like this.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see this because like this can never be made today.
Yeah.
Like under any sort of okay. In some circumstances, you can make this film today, but it wouldn't be commercially like successful at all.
Right.
Because of the political climate.
Right.
Yeah.
But there has been attempts to recreate that.
Yeah, Tarantino, for instance, is very like he doesn't recreate the genre, but he does it in his own way that pays homage to it.
Yeah. Oh man, I really want to talk about The Love Witch, but you haven't seen it.
Is that
Witch,
another example of like an exploitation film that gives women power?
It definitely gives women. Oh, The Love Witch is all about feminine power.
Okay. Huh.
And it's very, very politically charged.
Okay.
It's
Did you recommend that film to start when we started?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't think about it.
Huh.
I didn't think about The Love Witch. It's very different. It's Yeah, I mean, first of all, the atmosphere of the love, which is it's totally looks like a 70s exploitation film to the point where there would be specific cuts that look rough on purpose, just to create that exploitation.
And you can
feeling.
tell it's
Yes.
on purpose.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, because the film, everything from the color palette to everything, like you can tell that this is someone who's breathed this type of cinema growing up and made a film.
When was it made?
Huh?
When was it made?
2 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Absolutely, highly recommend The Love Witch.
Okay.
But that's a film
Maybe we
where...
should watch that for the channel.
Yes. Finally.
I mean, this discussion makes me interested now.
Finally convinced. Yeah.
Okay. He's been wanting me to see this film for a while.
And I thought, when I went in, I thought it was a pure exploitation, sexy drama. But it does come out as a much more politically charged. And we can't really talk about it, but there's a... Yeah, it's very much... Like, if there were exploitation films made today that wanted to cater to critics, that wanted to cater to the political correctness, that The Love Witch is an example of how that could be made. But it does not have the same vibe as this.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, my only criticism of Love Witch is it can get a little too preachy sometimes. Yeah. But it is an interesting case where someone tries to actually recreate exploitation films. Yeah.
Are there any other examples of films that, like, are exploitation films that would survive today? Like, this question has me intrigued now.
Well,
because...
we have to think about, like, the exploitation films that uses the feminine body.
Yeah.
We can't talk about, like, Crank. We have to say that Crank is, like, a modern violence.
Actually, that's a really interesting example.
Yeah.
Because Crank is an exploitation film, but it's not, like, a sexually... Well, I mean, it has sexual...
Oh,
it does have sexuals. Like,
Yeah.
especially the second film. So we just watched the second film, like, when was it? Two weeks ago?
yes.
Yeah. So, okay, so Crank 2, what's the full name?
Crank High Voltage.
Yeah, Crank High Voltage is a sequel to Crank. It's sort of less successful predecessor.
Yeah.
Or, not predecessor, sequel.
Yeah.
That takes the first film, which was just about being a batshit crazy action movie, and drives it to 11, and just is so ridiculous that it's basically an exploitation movie.
Yeah.
But it's an exploitation in, like, action and entertainment. But also, like, gratuitous sexism and violence. And,
gratuitous sexism, racism, and
like,
violence.
Yeah, and, like, it doesn't pretend to hide any of this. Or,
Yes.
like, it doesn't apologize for it at all. Like, I even want to spoil the final shot of the movie, because I feel like it wraps up...
I don't think you should.
Yeah, I should? Okay, I won't, because
Yeah.
I would feel
It's
bad
too
if I
good.
did.
Yeah.
I guess, if you're interested in what we're talking about...
Watch both
Yeah,
Cranks.
watch
Even
both
the first
Cranks,
Crank has one
Yeah.
major centerpiece
Yeah.
scene that's about sex.
You mean the driving scene?
Chinatown scene.
Chinatown.
I'll talk about it later.
Okay, alright.
Oh man, you forgot. That's the best scene in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, I'm blanking
In
on
front
this
of
film.
all the Chinese people.
Oh, that scene!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Huh.
Yep. You can probably picture what
Well, if you don't know what we're talking about, you don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah, but that's an interesting example.
Yeah, because Crank was made, like, what, a few years ago?
2005, 2009, or 2007, 2009.
Okay, so, like, not like within the last couple of years, like, the idea of political correctness and, like, has really, like, become very, very intense.
Yeah.
So it's not quite in that era yet, but it's definitely close enough to today that it's, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just interesting stuff to explore. Like, at this point, we're just referencing movies just to try to stimulate conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm part of the reason I'm intrigued by this so much is because I am wrestling with this question myself of, like, the morality of an exploitation film. Like,
I knew you would be.
Yeah.
Because, knowing how... I did it, too, for a lesser extent, but towards the end, I'm just like, I don't think, like... If I am a bad person for enjoying this, then I guess I'm just a bad person. I'm going to rate this based on how I feel. since a lot of what technical merit is, like is kind of gone in these films. So I think it's okay to admit that I like this movie because it's fun and it doesn't take itself too seriously, even though there are very serious things in it. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess how I feel about it is that, no one should be, like, criticized or, like, punished or kept from making any type of film.
Right.
As long as they're not, like, doing anything that is literally amoral, such as, like, killing people, or you get into a gray territory when you get into, like, animal abuse. Or how you treat actors, or how you treat,
Kubrick.
There's so much shit that goes on in the entertainment industry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if it's not a literal thing like that has to do with the real world, any sort of expression is like should not be, frowned upon. At least in my eyes.
Right, I agree to that.
But where the amorality of it is just my own personal opinion.
Exactly.
Of like,
it's more
what do I feel about it? Should I feel okay watching this? Should I seek out to watch more of it? It's okay if I watch it, but like, I don't know. It's just a lot of questions.
I don't think I can watch this genre every day. This is definitely a very specific mood sort of thing. Like this wouldn't, if I were given the choice to watch a particular genre for every day for a month, let's say I was like at gunpoint, this would probably be very low on the list of like something I would choose. Yeah, over even action films or dramas. But it is something that I do want to explore more.
Yeah, and I guess another part of it is like anyone can say whatever they want to, and that's fine. But like even the act of watching it and the act of like we bought this on YouTube. Yeah. We gave these people money.
Right.
That in itself is actively supporting it.
Right.
So to watch it is to support it. To support it is to potentially, agree with the morality of making a film like this. So, and like, especially since we're like making a video on it, talking about this film at length, even though we may not be supporting the film, we are, somehow through our actions, like almost confirming the film and as like something that's okay. If we confirm it as okay, what does that mean socially? Does that mean the more sleazy things that the film does is socially acceptable? It's a lot of questions.
That's a tougher thing for me personally. I personally feel like it's, I mean, you can argue that...
Yes, we sort of have different opinions on this.
Yeah, you can argue that we're just paying $3. But it's like if you put it in perspective, what if I pay money to see a Wagner opera?
Yeah.
Just because Wagner lived a long time ago, does that mean we're supporting, I guess, anti-Semitism?
Yeah.
But... but yeah, it's definitely a very gray area question.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, by paying for this film, I don't feel like...
Okay. I don't specifically mean like the fact that we paid $3 today. I just mean like the general act of like watching and supporting this stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in a way that validates why we need to make these videos, or why we should make these videos.
Yeah, because like this is people things to be thinking about.
Yeah, but also like if let's say we bought tickets to a certain movie that we totally disagree on, it does kind of feel nice to be like, we're not supporting this movie. We want to give you our thoughts, and we want to put it out in the world somewhere.
Yeah.
It's almost like good karma. It kind of like balances things out in a bit.
Yeah, but like at the same time, like if there's an exploitation film that's exploitative, but if we really enjoy it, and then we recommend others to see it.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, like that in itself, the act of encouraging others to see something that's exploitative is to suggest that we agree with the exploitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is complicated.
It's complicated.
Yeah, because like just because you enjoy watching exploitation doesn't mean that like you actively exploit. Like an interesting parallel I just thought of is like, this is sort of sexual, but like if you like role play in bed, if you like to be strangled and like do rape role play, like that doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
That just means you like to do kinky stuff in bed. Maybe it's the same way about films.
That's a little different because that's between two people usually.
That is, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. This is not a two-way. This is not a two-way in the bedroom.
I mean, it's an interesting comparison for sure, and I'm glad you brought that up. That's kind of funny. It's funny how this conversation went there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's yeah. Oh man, I just had a point before you brought up the role play stuff, and I can't remember it anymore. But I think the basic gist is there. Well, yeah, it's cool to explore this type of stuff with the exploitation. Yeah. Oh yeah. What I was gonna say was, where's Tarantino when we need him? We should call him and tell him to come to this room.
Yo, can you?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's gotten this shit before.
Yeah, because I bet his opinion is probably very.
Yeah, he might have
very pro exploitation.
To be, I wonder if we could find something, and like, find him talking about this, and then like link it in the description or something. That would be really cool. If we could do that.
Right. I know.
I might look for something.
There were. Well, we'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you know for examples. I know for a fact, though, that Tarantino hates talking about violence.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Did you see the one where you roast a woman in the news? Yeah.
Yeah, there's this wonderful video, you can look it up, where, like, he's on a news channel, and, like, this news reporter is like, Kill Bill is horrible for people because it's so violent, and, like, people are bringing their young people, and it's, like, it's corrupting the young minds, and he's like... It's just fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's a good outlook to have. This is just fun.
This is just fun.
This is just fun. But then again, is it fun that's healthy for society?
Hey, there you go.
That's
now
the question. Is it fun that's healthy for society?
Now we gotta start thinking about that.
Which, I mean, that's your own question to answer.
Well, Tarantino has hosted TV shows where he specifically would, and these are movie shows where he would preface each film. It's like Tarantino Presents almost. He had an opportunity to do that, and a lot of his films are just campy exploitation films. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I know he loves, one of the quintessential exploitation films is Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. And I know Tarantino loves that movie. And I know he loves Switchblade Sisters. I don't know if that's an exploitation film or something, but it sounds like that. But I think he's pretty pro-exploitation film. And I'm pretty sure in terms of the recent... He probably has a lot of things to say against the recent political correctness movement. But that's a thing.
Yeah. That makes me think of another thing. So something I'm involved with a lot is a video game culture and doing video game music stuff. And one of the questions that people have beat to death is playing violent video games make you violent? That's sort of the same sort of thing here.
Yeah. Because in video games... They don't shy away from showing stuff like rape or torture.
Well, it's not just that they're showing it; it's that you're actively doing it inside the game.
That's true.
You as a character, as an agent, are simulating these actions.
Right.
With today's technology, looks real as ever, or not real, but like it looks as with all the spectacle that any Hollywood film would have.
Right.
Yeah.
Or a sensationalized exploitation film.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do find that it does seem like some people lower their standards when it comes to stuff like video. Yeah, it seems like when a video game is rated like rated M for mature, and it makes itself clear that it's a beach volleyball bikini girl game or some sort of really campy exploitation game. That's not a real genre. But for that purpose, it does seem like people tend to, they're a little more, what's the word? Complacent. They're a little less resistant towards it. I don't know why.
Yeah. In comparing the two, it seems like video games have an easier way to sort of justify themselves, because in video games, the fun that you get from video games is not necessarily through the gratuitousness of the violence, but it's through the fun that you get through the gameplay, which is because you're playing a game, you get enjoyment from the game, and the game is set inside of a context of violence, and it's like it's violent, but it's not quite the same thing as directly enjoying violence like you do in a movie, an exploitation movie. Because an exploitation movie, it seems like the difference is you are directly enjoying the exploitation, where in the video game, what you're like really getting the benefit of is not the exploitation itself, but more of like how the gameplay and the mechanics.
Yeah.
And like it's not the thing that makes you uncomfortable. I don't know. Am I making my point?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about exploitation films is, we do have modern films, especially maybe some of the European film movements, that showcase a lot of these extreme things. But with the difference with exploitation films is they don't have that emotional charge that like the characters are more two-dimensional, more one-dimensional than in these serious films that are made today, and so it is more easy to enjoy the thing. Like when you sympathize for a character that's raped, it's a more surface level sympathy, and you know that she's going to get revenge, and so as a result you kind of enjoy the fact that she is raped because you know that she will get her vengeance soon. And that's,
Man.
Yeah, that's exactly what
it is.
It's
so fucked up when you say it like that, but it's... I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah, because because you know it's fantasy, and because you know it's a narrative device, it's like you're cheering for horrible things that are happening on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Man. I guess we should maybe watch more exploitation films so we can talk about this more.
Yeah, sure.
This is really interesting.
Right. I feel like the last 20 minutes of our talk has just been on this topic.
Yeah.
This one topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to get to know more about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that is a good place to wrap it up for today.
Yeah. What time is it?
It's like almost 7.
All
yeah.
right.
I gotta sleep.
Okay. Yeah, you have church in a few hours,
Yep.
and I should probably do other things with my life.
Maybe. Like make thumbnails.
Oh yeah. The thumbnail for this can be really fun to make. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for watching.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed that. If you watched this whole video, props to you, because this was a long one.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.